Walking to section 10, governance and organization. As company grows on AWS, they often manage multiple AWS accounts for different teams, department, projects and environments. For example, a company might have separate AWS account for development, testing, production, security and finance. Managing all these accounts individually can become very difficult. That's where AWS governance and organization service comes in. In this segment, we will cover four important services: AWS Organization, AWS Control Tower, AWS Trusted Advisor, and AWS Support Plan. Think of them this way: Organization manages multiple AWS accounts, Control Tower automates multi account setup, Trusted Advisor provides recommendation, Support Plans provide AWS assistance and supports of multiple types. These services help organizations stay secure, compliant, well managed, and cost efficient. For the CLF-C02 paper, AWS focuses heavily on understanding the purpose of each service and when to use it. A simple memory trick is manage, organizations manage it, govern, control tower, optimizing, trusted advisors, support plans. This being said, let's start with AWS Organization. AWS Organization helps centrally manage multiple AWS accounts from a single location. In simple words, it acts like a parent account that controls many child AWS accounts. Imagine a large company with separate AWS accounts for development, testing, production, finance, and security teams. Instead of managing each account separately, AWS Organization allows centralized management. Looking at the key points, AWS Organization manages multiple AWS accounts centrally. It creates multiple organizational units, also called OUs. AWS Organization apply policies across accounts, and it uses like consolidated billing. One of the biggest benefit of organization is consolidated billing. Instead of receiving separate bills for every AWS account, the company receives a single combined bill. This also helps maximize volume discounts and saving. Another important feature in service control policies or SCPs are basically SCPs allowed administrator to define maximum permission across accounts. For example, an organization may prevent developers from deleting production resources. If an IAM policy allows it, the SCP can block the action. For the CLF-C02 exam, remember these exam goal point. AWS Organization is a global service. It supports consolidated billing, supports organizational units, supports service control policies, and also provides centralized account management. A common exam question could be, which AWS service allows centralized management of multiple AWS accounts? The answer is AWS Organization. The easiest memory trick for you is organization is one place to manage many AWS accounts. Whenever you hear multiple account, consolidated billing or SCPs, think AWS Organization. Now, let's talk about the AWS Control Tower. AWS Control Tower helps automate the setup and governance of a secure multi-account AWS environment. Think of Control Tower as an automation layer built on top of AWS Organization. Instead of manually configuring accounts, security settings, logging, and compliance control, Control Tower does all of them automatically. Looking at the key points, automates account setup. AWS Control Tower applies governance best practice. It also creates a landing zone, uses guardrails for compliance. Let's understand the concept of landing zone. A landing zone is a pre-configured multi-account AWS environment following AWS best practice. When organizations start using AWS, Control Tower helps them quickly create a secure foundation. Another important concept is guardrails. Guardrails are governance rules that help enforce security and compliance requirement. For example, it also prevents public S3 buckets, requires logging, restricts certain action. These guardrails help organizations remain compliant. For the CLF-C02 exam, you must remember Control Tower uses AWS Organization. It creates landing zones, applies guardrails, automates account provisioning, supports governance and compliance. And a common exam question that you could be tested around is, which AWS service helps set up and govern a secure multi-account environment? Here you go. Your answer is AWS Control Tower. The simple memory trick is Control Tower automate governance for AWS account. Whenever you hear landing zone or guardrails, try to think of Control Tower. Moving on to AWS Trusted Advisor. AWS Trusted Advisor AWS Trusted Advisor analyzes your AWS environment and provides recommendation based on AWS best practices. Think of Trusted Advisor as a cloud consultant that continuously reviews your environment. It identifies opportunity to improve performance, security, reliability, cost optimization, and service limits. Looking at the key points, AWS Trusted Advisor provides recommendation, checks AWS resources. It also identifies risk and opportunity, and it even helps optimize AWS environment. Trusted Advisor performs check across multiple categories. Security check may identify resources exposed to the internet as well. Cost optimization may identify underutilized EC2 instances. These are all the tasks of Trusted Advisor. And adding some another pointers, performance checks may recommend improvements as well. And service limit checks warn when you are approaching AWS limit. For example, if an EC2 instance has very low utilization per month, Trusted Advisor can say, oh, okay, like we need to shut it down or resize it. And this can reduce the cost drastically. For the CLF-C02 exam, remember the 5 main categories: cost optimization, performance, security, fault tolerant, and service limit. These 5 categories are extremely important and frequently tested. A common exam question could be, which AWS service provide recommendation to improve security, performance, and cost optimization? So here you go. Your answer is Trusted Advisor. The memory trick for this one is Trusted Advisor is equal to AWS best practice recommendation. Whenever you hear recommendation or optimization advice, think Trusted Advisor. So finally move to one of the important service, support plans. AWS support plans provide technical assistance and guidance from AWS. Different organization requires different level of support depending on their workload and business needs. And AWS offers multiple support plans. The 4 plans are basic one, developer, business, enterprise on-ramp, and enterprise. Let's understand them a bit more. Basic support is included with every AWS account. It provides customer service, documentation, white papers, and billing support. Next, developer support is designed for development and testing environment. You must also remember the response time for each of them. The response time for basic is up to 24 hours. Developer one is up to 12 hours. Next one is business support. It provides faster response time and access to AWS Trusted Advisor recommendation. Basically 24/7 support is available, and within up to 1 hour someone will connect you. Enterprise plans provide the highest level of support, including 1 technical account managers and proactive guidance. So within 15 minutes they will reach you out. For the CLF-C02 exam, remember this important point. Basic support is absolutely free. Developer support is for development workload and response time is up to 12 hours. Business supports provider faster technical support, that is response time is up to 1 hour. Enterprise provides the highest support level, that is within 15 minutes with a technical account manager, TAM. Trusted Advisor feature increase the higher support plans. And a common exam question is, which AWS support plan includes a technical account manager? You know, it is the enterprise. And which support plan is included for all AWS customers? The answer is basic. The memory trick is, first one is basic, that is response time is up to 24 hours for everyone. Second one is developer, for like development and testing space, and response time could be up to 12 hours. Third one is business one, up to 1 hour of response time, and the last one is enterprise, that is 24/7 support with a technical account manager, and response time is within 15 minutes. Moving to the summary section, we learned 4 important services. First, AWS Organization. It used to centrally manage multiple AWS accounts, provide consolidated billing and service control policies, SCP. Second, AWS Control Tower. It automates account setup and governance. It uses landing zones and guardrails. Third, AWS Trusted Advisor. It provides recommendation for cost, security, performance, fault tolerance, and service limit. Last one is AWS Support Plan. It provides technical support and AWS guidance. The complete picture look like this. Organization manages account, Control Tower governs account, Trusted Advisor optimize environment, and Support Plan helps solve problem. For the CLF-C02 exam, remember this one line memory trick. Organization manages, Control Tower governs, Trusted Advisor recommends, and Support Plan supports. If you remember that single sentence, you will answer most governance and organization questions correctly.